Think about the last time you looked up. Not just a quick glance at the moon, but a real sustained look into the black, into the nothing. You were probably told at some point that you are, well, nothing. A speck, a biological accident on a dust mote, drifting aimlessly through a graveyard of cold hydrogen and dead stars. It's a modern truth, isn't it? The more we learn about the light years, the more we seem to shrink. We've been taught to believe that the universe is just an enormous, empty room, and we are just a microscopic bit of dust dancing for a second in a stray beam of light. It's a heavy thought. It's a cold one. It makes the chest feel a bit tight when you really let it sit there in the dark with you. Take a second, just pause, feel that weight. The weight of being a temporary arrangement of atoms in an eternal, silent dark. We call it nihilism. We call it the void. And for a long time, we've been told that this void is a mouth. A giant, unblinking mouth that is eventually going to swallow everything you've ever loved, everything you've ever built, and eventually you. But what if that's the lie? What if the empty room isn't actually empty? What if the very thing that makes you feel small is actually the ultimate proof of how impossibly large you are? See, Carl Sagan knew something that most people miss. He saw the same blackness you do. He saw the same cold numbers, the same terrifying, crushing distances. But he didn't see a mouth. He saw a mirror. He understood that when you look into the abyss, you aren't looking at a predator waiting to consume you. You're looking at a reflection. Today, I want to show you that reflection. I want to deconstruct the silence until you can hear the music behind it. Because, believe it or not, the universe isn't indifferent to you. It couldn't be. Because you are the only part of it that has finally opened its eyes. You aren't just a speck in the void. You are the void finally realizing it's alive. You are the universe's own nervous system, finally waking up to the beauty of its own existence. Let's start with the math. Because the math is usually where the dread begins. 13.8 billion years. That is the age of everything. And you. If we scaled the entire history of the universe down to a single calendar year, your entire life, every heartbreak, every triumph, every morning coffee, would last for about, well, less than a single second. Just a flicker of a candle in a hurricane that's been raging since before time had a name. It's hard not to feel like a mistake when you look at it that way. Like you're a glitch in a system that doesn't even know you're there. And then there's the distance. Think about this. The closest galaxy to ours, Andromeda, is 2.5 million light years away. If you hopped into the fastest spacecraft we've ever built, you wouldn't get there for millions of human lifetimes. Between us and them is just nothing. A vast, freezing ocean of hydrogen atoms so lonely they might only see another atom once every few centuries. It's a beautiful kind of melancholy, isn't it? The universe isn't just big, it's expanding, it's pulling itself apart. Every second, the galaxies are rushing away from us, faster and faster, like guests leaving a party that's finally winding down. Eventually, if we wait long enough, the night sky will be completely black. No stars, no neighbors, just us in the dark. This is what we call cold nihilism. It's the realization that the universe doesn't have a heart. It has laws. It has entropy. It has a slow, inevitable march toward a state where nothing happens ever again. And you're sitting here breathing, trying to make sense of a grocery list or a career path while the very fabric of reality is stretching into oblivion. It feels correct, doesn't it? It feels intellectually honest to say that we don't matter. It's the brave position to take. To look at the 93 billion light years of observable space and say, yeah, I'm nothing. There's a certain dignity in that honesty, a certain stoicism in accepting our own irrelevance. But here's the mystery. If everything is so cold, if the scale is so stacked against us, why does it hurt so much to think about it? Why would a meaningless arrangement of atoms even care if it was meaningless? Why would a speck of dust feel the need to weep at the beauty of a nebula? It doesn't make sense. If the universe is a cold, dead machine, why did it produce something as warm and fragile as you? Something that insists on asking, why? Let that sink in. Just pause. If we are truly nothing, then why is the nothing so deeply, achingly curious? Picture the scene. It's February 14th, 1990. 4 billion miles away, a tiny, lonely machine called Voyager 1 is hurtling toward the edge of our solar system. Its mission is almost over. Its cameras are about to be shut down forever to save power. But then Carl Sagan, the man who spent his life translating the stars for us, he makes a request. He asks NASA to do something that, on paper, was completely scientifically useless. He wants to turn the camera around. He wants to look back at the home we left behind. There was resistance, of course. Why waste the fuel? Why risk the equipment? But Sagan insisted, and so the machine turned. It looked across the unimaginable distance and took a final picture. And there it was, caught in a scattered beam of sunlight. A tiny, pale blue dot, a single pixel of light in a vast, crushing darkness. Now, we've all seen that photo. We've all heard the speck of dust speech. And usually, we use it to punish ourselves. We use it to say, see, look how small you are. Look how much you don't matter. But that's the great misunderstanding. That's the lie we tell ourselves because we're afraid of the responsibility. See, Sagan's great deconstruction wasn't an act of humiliation. It was the moment we stepped into the role of the wise guide. Because, think about this, to see the dot as small, you have to be the one standing in the dark, watching it. You have to be the observer. The very fact that we can build a machine, send it into the abyss, and have it look back and recognize us, that isn't proof of our insignificance. It's proof of our reach. It was the first time the universe ever looked into a mirror. Pause. Let that breathe for a second. The universe, through us, finally saw its own face. It saw how fragile it is. It saw how lonely the light can be. Sagan wasn't trying to make you feel like a mistake. He was trying to show you that you are the only part of this cold machine that has a heart. He was shifting the perspective from the victim to the steward. Because when you realize that everything you've ever known is on that tiny blue pixel, you realize that the void isn't coming for you. It's waiting for you to fill it with meaning. It's the moment we stopped being afraid of the dark and started realizing we were the ones holding the lantern. Here is the shift, the moment where we stop looking at the universe as a place we're visiting and start seeing it as, well, as ourselves. Most of us go through life feeling like passengers, like we're sitting in a theater seat watching the galaxy spin on a screen that's millions of light years away. But the physics of it, the cold, hard, beautiful math, says something much more intimate. Think about what you're made of. You aren't just stuff. You're a very specific kind of stuff. Carbon, oxygen, nitrogen. iron. But in the beginning, 13.8 billion years ago, none of that existed. The early universe was simple. It was just a vast, lonely ocean of hydrogen and helium drifting in the dark. No solid ground, no complex chemistry, no life. So how did we get here? How did we get from a cloud of gas to you? The answer is alchemy. Real, honest-to-God alchemy. It happened inside the hearts of the first stars. Massive, ancient suns that spent eons crushing atoms together with such incredible force that they forged entirely new elements. They were the universe's first factories working in the silent dark to create the building blocks of everything we know. And when those stars reached the end of their lives, when they couldn't hold themselves up against their own weight anymore and exploded in these magnificent, terrifying supernovas, they scattered that forged material across the void. They breathed out the very elements of life. That dust, it eventually clumped together to form planets, to form oceans, to form you. Now pause for a second. Look down at your hands. I mean, really look at them. This isn't just a poetic metaphor. It's a literal physical truth. The iron that carries oxygen through your veins right now, that iron was forged in the white, hot core of a dying giant. The calcium in your bones, it was baked in a cosmic oven billions of miles away. And because of the way the galaxy breathes, the way it recycles itself over eons, it is almost a mathematical certainty that the atoms in your left hand came from a completely different star than the atoms in your right. You are a mosaic of the infinite. You are a collection of fragments from across the deep cosmos, stitched together by gravity and time into a shape that can, for a few brief decades, walk and talk and wonder. Think about that. The universe spent billions of years preparing the ingredients for you. You aren't a person in a universe. You are a very small piece of the universe that has finally learned how to do a person. You are the cosmos experiencing itself. You are the way the stars finally get to see what they've made after billions of years of burning. When you feel small, when you feel like that insignificant speck we talked about earlier, just remember that your very existence required the death and rebirth of 1,000 suns. You aren't just an observer of the light. You are the light finally slowed down enough to feel things. You are the universe finally waking up. So let's talk about the big one, the M word, meaning. We spend so much time looking for it, don't we? We look under the floorboards of our religions, in the fine print of our philosophies, or in the cold data of our physics, and when we don't find it written in the stars, we panic. We call it nihilism. We say the universe is meaningless, as if that were a failure of the cosmos, a defect in the design. But I want you to think about that for a second. If the universe were born with a set of instructions, if every star, every planet, and every grain of sand already had a purpose etched into its very atoms, then what would you be? You'd just be a gear in a machine, a pre-programmed script. You'd be a character in a book someone else already finished. But that's not what's happening. The universe is, as far as we can tell, a vast, silent, and beautifully indifferent canvas. A rock on Mars doesn't care that it's a rock. A nebula doesn't know it's beautiful. They just are. And that's where you come in. See, if the universe has no inherent meaning, then you are the only thing in existence capable of creating it. You aren't just a witness to the show. You're the one writing the review. You are a biological superpower. Your consciousness is like a localized flare of the universe's own latent curiosity. For billions of years, the cosmos was blind and deaf. It was just matter colliding in the dark, energy transferring from one cold state to another without anyone to notice the change. Then, through a series of impossible accidents, through the forge of stars we just talked about, it produced you. And suddenly, the universe has a nervous system. It has a heart that can break. It has a mind that can wonder why the sunset is that specific, haunting shade of bruised purple. That's not a burden. It's the ultimate freedom. Meaning isn't something you find like a coin dropped in the grass or a secret hidden in a cave. It's something you do. It's a verb. It's an active choice. Every time you love someone, every time you're moved to tears by a piece of music, every time you look at that pale blue dot and feel a lump in your throat, you are performing an act of cosmic alchemy. You are taking raw, dead matter and turning it into meaning. You are the universe's way of finally saying, this matters. And because there is no grand architect telling you what to value, your choices are finally, truly yours. You are the storyteller in the void. Pause. Just let that sit there. You are the only part of the infinite that has the courage to decide that things matter. And in a universe this big and this old, that makes you the most powerful thing in it. Let's bring this home. Because it's one thing to talk about nebulae and supernovas in the abstract, but it's another thing entirely to realize that the infinite is, well, it's sitting right there on your kitchen table. Think about your morning coffee, the steam rising from the mug, the warmth seeping into the ceramic. Where did that heat actually start? Follow the thread back. That energy began as sunlight captured by a plant, processed into a bean, and finally released into your water. But keep going. That sunlight is just the latest chapter in an epic that's been written for aeons. The photons hitting your face when you walk outside, they began their journey in the crushing white, hot heart of our sun tens of thousands of years ago. They've been struggling to reach you since before the first cities were even a whisper in the dark. And now, they're here. They're warming your skin. They're becoming a part of your story. Take a breath right now. Just feel the air enter your lungs. That oxygen. It's a gift from a billion years of biological evolution, powered by the very same nuclear furnace that keeps the planets in their orbits. Every time you inhale, you are performing a cosmic transaction. You are taking in the recycled breath of ancient forests and the residue of stars that died before the Earth was even a thought. It's an exchange of energy that began in the hearts of glowing nebulae and ends right here in your nervous system, in the tiny electrical pulses that allow you to hear my voice and wonder about the meaning of it all. Pause, let that sink in. The universe isn't some cold, distant place out there. It's an intimate part of your Tuesday morning. There is no wall between you and the deep cosmos. You are a localized event in a 13 billion year old chain reaction. Every mundane moment, the taste of a meal, the feel of a cold breeze, the weight of your own body is a point of contact with the infinite. You aren't just looking at the universe. You are the universe's way of finally feeling the warmth of its own fire. It's not a distance to be feared. It's an intimacy to be cherished. It's the realization that you have never, for a single second, been truly alone in the dark. So, here it is, the realization that finally saves you. We started this journey by looking at the void as a mouth, a dark, cold room where nothing you do actually matters. But now, I want you to look again. If there is no pre-written meaning, if there is no grand script etched into the atoms, then nihilism isn't a prison. It's a blank canvas. It's the ultimate, terrifying and deeply beautiful freedom. Because if the universe is truly indifferent, then it isn't judging you. It isn't grading you or waiting for you to fail. It's just waiting. It's waiting for you to tell it what it is. Think about that. For billions of years, the cosmos was a masterpiece with no eyes to see it. It was a symphony playing to an empty, silent hall. And then against every mathematical odd, against the crushing cold and the infinite silence, it produced you. You are star stuff that has finally, after eons of burning, learned its own name. You are the moment the universe finally woke up from a long, dreamless sleep and looked in the mirror. Your insignificant life, those few decades you get to breathe and love and suffer, isn't a glitch in the system. It's the most important event in the entire 13.8 billion year timeline. Why? Because you are the only place where the universe is actually happening with awareness. Without you, the stars are just balls of burning gas. With you, they are wonder. With you, they are ancestors. With you, the dark isn't empty. It's full of potential. Pause. Let that settle into your bones. You aren't a victim of the scale of the cosmos. You are the point of it. You are the way the infinite finally gets to know itself. And in a universe this vast, that doesn't make you small. It makes you the only thing that truly matters. So here we are. One tiny, warm pulse of life in a cold, 13 billion year old museum. The screen will go dark in a moment. The machine will click off. And you'll go back to your life, to the coffee, the deadlines, the noise. But before you do, just listen. That silence you feel, that isn't emptiness. That's the universe holding its breath, waiting to see what you'll do with the light you've been given. You are the only part of this entire vast machine that can choose to be kind, or curious, or brave. In the face of the infinite, that is the only thing that has ever mattered. We are just a few wandering sparks, talking to each other across the dark. If you felt something here, if a specific thought or a memory flickered in your mind, leave it in the comments. Not for an algorithm, but for us to prove we were here together in the dark.